Hey guys, welcome to Assimilation Webinar. My name's Cotton Grammer, and I know we have a lot of new OMGers that signed on this week, over 100. So let me just kind of briefly go over what Assimilation Webinars are, and just so you can get the lay of the land, because this might be your first webinar that you've attended in OMG. I am one of the coaches in OMG. I also have one of the founders of OMG on as a guest tonight. He's normally not on him, Greg Morrison, who is going to be going over the most asked questions of OMG history. So it's going to be great. We also have Derek Owasiak, who is also my partner on Assimilation Webinars. He will always be on all of them. He's only missed one since it started. What Assimilation Webinars are is every week we do an hour of questions and answers. Then we go into a lesson. The first half of the year, we went through some of the most cutting edge SEO topics of 2015. I have never seen any other SEO webinar cover topics like we have. The second half, we're going to be covering foundational SEO. Now that we've given you advanced, we're going to roll it back and we're going to go back from the beginning. If you are new and have not had a chance to watch last week's webinar about the 30 reasons that you're not making $1,000 a day or $30,000 a month, please go back and watch it. It's essential. So that's what Assimilation Webinars are. Always be every Wednesday. We always will be on. So with that, I'm going to say hello to my co-host, and then we'll get started. Derek, what's up, buddy?
Hey, Con, not a whole lot. How about you?
Now just chilling, getting this webinar done, man. And also my good friend and the original one-man gang himself, Greg Morrison. What's up, buddy?
What's happening, Cotton? I'm ready for Chicago, man.
You know what? You just reminded me also. For those of you that are new to OMG also, if you'll look over here on the screen, Greg just brought up a great thing. You just caught us in the middle of Assimilation tours. In other words, we're showing up in different cities. It's a social. There's no cost to it. This weekend, we're going to be in Chicago at the Chicago Athletic Association Hotel. Just a chance for you to meet. Greg Morrison himself is going to be there. I will be there. Mike Long, Liz Herrera, and other OMGers. We get together, have a good time, meet everyone, answer questions, and talk about things that we normally wouldn't talk about on webinars. It's a great chance for you to meet us and ask us one-on-one questions that we normally wouldn't cover anywhere else. So we've had a lot of fun with them. We started out in Orlando. We went to Dallas, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, Phoenix, and now Chicago, Miami. And I will announce, I'm not going to post about it till after Miami, but how would you guys like for me to announce the final date for the OMG Assimilation Tour? We're going to make sure that everyone's paying attention. I want you guys to go into the OMG Way group and give me a hashtag post-it. We get 100 post-its, I will give you the final location for the Assimilation Tour and the date for it. So we want to make sure that you guys are awake, that you're participating. We've only got about 5 people over. We got about 300 people on, so it should be very easy for us to get 100 people post this. So when we see it over there, we're going to get it going. But if not, guys, while I'm waiting on you guys to fulfill with this post-it, please, any questions that you got, post it in the chat box. We're going to be answering those for the next 30 minutes. Then once again, we're going to follow that with Greg Morrison. And, you know, this is a pretty cool webinar. Guys, Greg Morrison actually fought Chuck Norris, and Chuck lost. That's right. Chuck lost. We're going to go over that tonight. So it looks like that we have got still, guys, I'm going to have to teach you guys what participation is. We don't have anybody posting hashtag post it in the OMG Way group for all you new people. There we go. There we go. It's coming on good. Wonderful. Guys, the final date is going to be October 3rd. And it's going to be in New York City. That is going to be the final Assimilation Tour date that will then lead into OMG Live Nashville. And we'll talk about that a little bit later after Greg gets done, and why OMG Live Nashville could be the date that you need to circle on your calendar as one of the most important dates you need to be at in all of 2015. So we will be in New York City, October 3rd, and we hope to see you there. We don't have a location for that yet. As soon as Joe Marfolio and Gregory, Joe Marfolio's in Phoenix right now with Fletch, and he's driving across country with his family and stopping off at different places. He's in Phoenix today. I think he's due to be in Dallas in a couple days, where he's going to spend time with Stephen Floyd. Then he's going to be driving on and headed back on to New York. So as soon as they get there, they'll scout out some locations and figure out where we're going to be. Greg, are you going to be making that New York date?
I will probably be in New York. Yeah, that's close by for me.
Wow. So, guys, you have Greg Morrison confirmed to be in New York City. Myself, Liz is confirmed. Mike Long is still on the fence. Whether he will be able to make it or not, hopefully he will. Get some of these other people approved into assimilation here. And what we'll do is we'll just jump right into the questions. And it says here, last week, Stephen mentioned in the FB group that he would give out his thoughts on host 9 if someone asked about it. No question and answer last week, so would love to hear on your thoughts this week. Some of the questions that we're going to cover are going to be in Greg's most frequently asked questions today, but if Angie asks a specific question, I'll let either Derek or Greg answer what they feel about host
9. I like host 9. I don't see any problem with it. I mean, I'm going to explain later, about SEO hosting type stuff and if you can or can't use them when you can. But, I mean, I use host 9 for a decent amount of my money sites, and I have no problem with them. I mean, some people don't like them, but I have no problem with them.
Great. So there you go. It says here, do you charge up all of your PBNs with social signals? Derek?
Yeah, I do, personally.
Greg?
Short and easy answer.
Greg, what about you?
No, never.
Yeah, I haven't either, but that doesn't mean that Derek is wrong. Guys, while we're on this subject, hold on, Derek. While we're on this subject, and I hate to do this with new people, guys, I want to get this message across to you because I understand that we had some OMGers that were misguided that were on the Network Empire webinar yesterday. Guys, if you go back and listen to the webinar last week, I want to make this very clear what I said. I said, if you're not able to rank with using just PBNs, you don't understand the basics of SEO. Start over. Don't use DAS. Don't use 2.0s. Don't do anything. Go back and learn your basics. If you don't know your basics, you cannot understand DAS. You cannot understand advanced SEO of any form whatsoever. Go back. There's a reason why you're not ranking. It's because you haven't grasped the basics. Now, we had some people that wanted to start problems and trouble yesterday and go over to Network Empire's webinar and say, oh, cotton shit DAS doesn't work. And, I don't know who you are, but I'll find you. Don't worry. And that's not the type of people that we want to have in OMG. If you can't listen to directions, that's exactly why you're not ranking. So when Derek says that he does do it and we say we don't, that doesn't mean that I'm against Derek. I respect everything that Derek says. I respect everything that Jimmy says. Jimmy Kelly is a world-class SEO. And Jimmy can rank whatever he wants, whenever he wants, but Jimmy understands the basics better than anybody. And Jimmy will be the first to tell you, and so will Derek and Greg, if you can't understand the basics, you don't need to be playing in any other pool. So I want to get that clear to everyone. So now that we understand this, so we don't have troublemakers going crying to other SEOs and telling them what I said. Can we get a hashtag clear on this? Now, we have well over 300 people. I want to make hashtag clear. I never said anything doesn't work. I told you exactly what you needed to do to get successful. It's called crawl, walk, run. And guess where Derek and Jimmy and Greg are at? They're on the run. They're on the crawl. Some of you are still on crawl and you think you need to run. You still need to crawl. So that's what the message was about. So when Derek comes on and says he does use social signals and Greg and I say we don't, we're all right. It's just what we do. That's it. So I don't want you to think there's feuding going on or there's anything like this. All the OMG coaches get along. We all talk to each other. And I'm going to ask Network Empire who is telling them that we're saying that they don't know how to rank. So just to let you know. Sorry about that, Derek. Go ahead and continue. I just wanted to clear that up.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much for posts. It's just simple setup of Social Explosion, and it pretty much covers you. So I'm pretty sure, Greg, you were using Social Explosion though for a while, weren't you?
That is true. I'm using Social Explosion, so that's true.
Yeah. Okay. There we go. And we'll go to the next question. Hi, Cotton. Scott Bender from Orlando. I'm interested in SEO for affiliate programs. Can you recommend me where to begin? Please advise. I don't do affiliate, but Greg and Derek do, so they'd be the perfect people to answer that question.
Depends on the niche you want to do. Like, there's a lot of times if it's going to be broad market, you can use CPA programs like Never Blue, which I've always used. More of the weight loss or long sales letter is going to be ClickBank. But a lot of times the stuff like e-cigs and anything like that, I usually go out and hunt individual affiliate programs for the products, right? So pretty sure Greg's similar, right?
Yeah, I mean, I always went with stuff that I am interested in, because then you, if you go with something you're not really interested in, it's easy to lose interest and quit doing the project. With something you know a lot about, or like for me, e-cigs is where I did a lot. I quit smoking because of e-cigs, so I knew they worked, and it was easy for me to sell them. So, I mean, you might want to look and start in niches where you have interest in. I think that always helps.
Sounds great. And the next question is, how do I silo a non-WordPress site? Do you just link between the pages? And, it says, should I remove header, footer links? I'll let you guys answer. I myself I will never do a site that's not WordPress. I'll tell them that they need to convert before I mess with it. Derek,
Well, yeah, you can. I mean, you say if you're using like Joomla or something, like there's a lot of content management systems that can't support thousands and thousands of pages, like Drupal and Joomla. They're better at handling sites with 20,000, 30,000 pages. Otherwise, because WordPress just kind of gets slow, right? But there's just no plugin for it right now. But you can just manually link. You just have your top category for your silo, and then you just make sure that the URL structure is for any subpages is contained within that structure, and you're linking back through to the top of the silo, and the subpages can interlink in between each other. And like we were saying before, is if you need to link to a different silo, just kind of no follow that link so you don't lose the juice. But you're just mimicking the same concept, right? So there's not a whole lot of plugins out there for other different CMSs, but that's why we kind of use WordPress. It's really easy to use. But yeah, I mean, you can do it manually on HTML, any kind of massive site. Like I have one site that has like 2 million pages, and you can't use WordPress, right? So.
Great. Greg, will you mess with anything that isn't WordPress?
No, I'm a dummy, man. I need WordPress.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I mean, if they're not going to move over to WordPress, they don't want to work with me that bad enough. So next question, which is going to be difficult. It says, day 2 in OMG, I have and by the way, guys, for those of you that are new that thinks that OMG stands for oh my God, it does not. And no, I mean, Derek laughs, but I literally thought it stood for that I didn't know what it stood for 8 months. It stands for one man gang. One man gang. So you guys are getting initiated very quickly where I didn't know. So OMG is not oh my God. It's one man gang, and then the website is Machines, modeled after Greg Morrison, who is the original one man gang. So I seeing someone here, day 2 and oh my God. So it's one man gang. And it says, I have a product on Amazon. I need more traffic. Looking for the best place to start. SEO on website, Amazon tracker. I'm just going to let you know that I do not do Amazon. Derek doesn't do Amazon. Greg doesn't do Amazon. We know how to rank a listing in Google for Amazon, but we don't do physical product, or at least Derek might. He hasn't told me. I don't do
No,
physical
I don't
products. Yeah, I don't do physical products. So the webinar that you'll want to go to ask those particular questions, Mike holds a Amazon Q&A webinar every other week. That's where you'll want to go for that. Here, we're pretty much any way to make money online with Google outside of Amazon. We just don't do physical products or anything. The best place to start is probably if you need more traffic on your website. It couldn't hurt to rank your listing inside of Google, and that is where we can help you. So follow all of Greg Morrison's videos, get your basics down on what you need to understand with SEO, watch all of the videos, and then apply that to your Amazon listing. That's the best advice I could give you, or at least I'll have. Derek, if you have something to add, you can.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like ranking any high DA property. So test out that plugin that the Network Empire put out. That'd be a good start. There's a lot of cool stuff going on in the background there no one knows about.
Yeah, and guys, I'm going to try to be very conscious of you for those of you that are new. First webinar, DA means domain authority, and that's from a Moz keyword tool. I'd like to think that because we have so many people, we might have to have like a beginner's webinar sometime shortly, but I'll do my best to try to be very conscious if there's a lot of new people on the webinar as well. So next is outstanding webinar last week. Thank you, Ted. Says Chicago, can't wait to meet you all, David says. Cotton Derek, honored to be here with you, awesome dudes. Thank you. Hi, Greg. What is your feedback on expired domain for PBN? You know what? We're going to skip that because we're going to go over all of Greg's questions here a little bit. That's going to kind of go into what Greg is doing. Greg, will you respond on this? Someone says, but Chuck is indestructible.
Absolutely not.
Greg, will you tell him what you told me when I told him that about Chuck without the colorful words?
Did I say that?
You said you're going to give that old man a dirt nap.
That's right.
And you know what? Greg has given Chuck Norris a dirt nap when you hear the questions. Trust me. Greg always wins, guys. He always wins. Next question is, how do you do structure pricing for service details for white label SEO? Got a few leads coming in, but I'm confused. How can competitors charge as little as $200 a month? That's surely not an OMG member. Oh. Well, this is what I can say. And I know people's going to go run their mouths and say that it's something I didn't say, but I'm going to be honest about everything. Guys, if you're going to Fiverr or Fiverr-like sites, and if you're believing that people is going to rank your website for $150, chances are you need to get counseling for drugs because it's not going to happen. So I don't know who or where you're going to where, guys, any cookie cutter pricing with SEO that's any less, I mean, it's less than $1,000 a week to me is just insane. I just don't get it. $200 a month, that's $50 a week. You do understand that there are kids with lemonade stands that make more than that a month. So there's no way that SEO is going to alter a business. If you think that that's going to alter a business, that is a sign of a scammer or that. Guys, please, I'm going to keep saying this for the next 6 months. Before you follow anybody or before you trust anyone, guys, I taught you this last week and I'm going to keep teaching you. Where do you rank? How much money do you make? That's it. And, you know, you can listen to as many people as you want, but for SEO white label services for $200, and if you found it posted somewhere that someone's selling it, I would most certainly call them insane. What about you, Derek?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you can find like a really good Fiverr gig or something that you can get a good push out of it, but most of the time it's you find one out of a million, you know. And then you find that good gig, you never share it to anyone, so you know. Mm-hmm. But I mean, actual white hat SEO services is no one's going to have the interest in ranking your client as much as you do, right? And then so these people just, like, oh, it didn't rank, whatever, and then you pretty much toast the client site and you got to repair it, right? So you have to be very careful with anyone you're outsourcing to.
Greg, what do you think about ranking competitors? Local SEO sites for $200 a month.
That's not going to happen.
And right, listen to Greg, guys. It's not going to happen. Secondly, guys, listen. You're inside of OMG. Stop trying to take shortcuts. That's a shortcut. I understand that you might have other stuff that you're trying to get busy with, but if you want to do client stuff, man, you got to have power and you got to have a way to rank your people. Just call Gregory Ortiz or go to Juicy Domains. And realistically, if like somebody wanted to get a nice little network put together from Juicy Domains, what do they got to spend?
Yeah, I mean, it's depending on how many domains you really want, but like we have custom bulk ordering now, so you can get PBNs for $30 a pop and get 100 of them for $3,000 if you have that kind of money. So
in other words, for $500, you could get a nice little setup where you could probably start your first few clients, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's
going to be a lot cheaper than going in auctions. Even if you're going into other people's PBN services, you're going to be paying a lot more than setting up your own a lot of the time.
Yeah. Guys, when you start doing white label stuff, it just starts getting risky. You're in OMG. You've got Greg Morrison's brain, his research. Greg's grinding away every day. Man, just use that information. Just slow down and stream it through your car while you're driving. Put it on your iPhone when you're at the gym or in your car or when you're going on a walk or somewhere. It doesn't take much. You can just listen to Greg, man. I mean, you're going to catch on to it. What I'm saying is I wouldn't take a chance on $200 SEO to try to make money versus setting up my own. You're going to end up losing clients, ruining your reputation, and wasting more time than ever before. So that's what we have to say. Next question says, I'm setting up my first 10 PBNs. Should I connect them all together? And can I create posts to more than one local client in different niches? We'll skip the last part of that question because we're going to cover that later. But Greg, this guy's got his first 10 PBNs, and he wants to know if it's a good idea to connect all those bad boys together.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Don't connect your PBNs together. You can connect PBNs and more advanced stuff. That's more DAS. I never do it. Well, I shouldn't say never, but I very, very, very rarely do it. So just don't do it.
Yeah, especially if they even have the similar IP class or even on the same host or in the same city. I forget it.
Mm-hmm. Great. And someone wants to know, are Assimilation Lab events free? Yes. And someone just wrote here, "Will slap my ass and call me Judy, and let's get this shindig started." Well, okay, Chris Smith, we'll call you Judy if that's what you really want. So it says, is Greg going to be in Chicago? Yes, he will. Mike will be in Chicago. Greg will not be in Miami. Will you, Greg?
No, not Miami.
Great. They're asking that question. And the other guy says confirmed. Next one. I just bought Host9 for a money site. Been down all day. Well, Ryan Sweet Juice is what he's calling himself right now. This dirty juice. We're not Host9. You need to contact them. It says I just signed up for a 1 year shared at Host9. Good for you, Brad. It says, who do you recommend for writing articles?
Yeah, well, I use I Need articles. I've always used them most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I've been using them too, especially for PBMs.
Yeah, it's just the turnaround time is always crucial. Like I still use FapSent too once in a while, but I have to plan ahead quite a while because it takes like 2 weeks sometimes to get articles back.
I don't even use him anymore. I mean, he's cheaper, but I Need articles just quick, and you don't really have to edit the articles. So.
Yeah.
If you're talking about writing articles for site content, you're going to want to probably go somewhere, maybe like iWriter, something like that, or even maybe somewhere else. You're going to have to pay a little more.
iWriter's cheaper. That's why I don't use them at all.
Yeah. Great. Thanks, guys. And guys, don't feel slighted if we're skipping a couple questions because we might be answering some of these a little bit later on with Greg. Peter says you were very clear on that last week, Cotton. Well, Peter, some people didn't get it, I guess. It says, next question is from Douglas, do you really need to set up and manage your own PBN? Or could you rent links or buy them from link vendors? I forbid Derek from answering this question. Greg Morrison.
You want to set up your own PBN for the most part. There's a lot of stuff I've been testing with running buying links. So I'm probably going to be covering in Nashville. I spent like tens of thousands of dollars testing this stuff, and it's really complex what you got to do to get it to work long term. So for now, I would recommend just do your own PBN for the most part.
Great. And the next question, do you use something like Infinite WP to manage all your PBNs or money sites to make your posts, etc.? Anyone of you guys can answer that.
No, I use main WP just because it's free and I can update all my sites all at once as well.
Great. And we have another guy who seems to be quite a comedian tonight. It says, Cotton stuff is crap. Move along. Is SEO splitting and YP approach is only responsible for $1,500 upfront deal. 5 phone appointments this week. Mwahaha. By the way, thanks, Cotton, for the boot in the ass last week. Well, thank you, Chris. Next one is literally second day. I just joined OMG under the 12 in deadline. Welcome, Jeremy, back. Glad you're a part of OMG. And it says here, from starting to make money, Greg loves these questions, and that's why Greg was on here tonight. Greg, this one is specifically aimed right at your chest. From start to making money, how long and how involved is the process? Days? Weeks?
Yeah, there's just no answer for that. It depends how much you put into it and how focused you are. I mean, there's so many variables that go with that. I mean, some people make money within a couple of weeks. Some people, they're on a year and they still haven't made money yet. It just depends on your focus and a lot of different variables.
Great. Derek, you wanna tackle that question too, or are you good?
Yeah, it's exactly what Greg said. I mean, there's no way to know really. I mean, your skill level is going to define a lot of it, and a lot of it's going to be what you're trying to rank for. So.
Good. Next question is from Miguel. He says, "Hey coaches, I'm in Australia. Is it better to use local hosting for domain register here, or is it fine to use HostGator or GoDaddy?"
Yeah, it's fine to use. Like I'm in Canada and I don't use any Canadian stuff at all, so no problem there. I mean, just when if you're trying to rank in Australia, it's good to use .com.au sites, but other than that, it doesn't matter where it's hosted.
Great. Next question is from Samuel. For Cotton and Derek, what system do you use to get paid automatic monthly? PayPal with 3% fee or another platform? I strictly 100% use PayPal.
Yeah, well, I use Chargeify sometimes. But.
So that's what we use. The next one. Derek, can you please spell the two things you just mentioned, please?
I already forgot what she's talking about.
I have no idea.
Talking about main WP and
oh, okay, yeah, sure. I'll just paste it in here.
Great. It says, "Hi Cotton, don't know if this is your base or not, but you have said you usually sign on a client for 6 months. I assume you're ranking them with PBNs. What if they aren't ranked in 6 months for key term? Do you continue charging them? Do you also keep paying hosting fees for PBN and hosting domains? Once client stops paying, been wanting to ask you and didn't know where to ask, or PBNs used for multiple clients as you use clients before there." Okay. So, one, I don't like answering questions that you don't need to know because you're asking me about failure questions. I've never failed to rank a client, and I don't ever tell them a set date. I give them a soft spot of where they can land inside a course of time. So we're going to be going over something, and now's a good time for me to talk about this as well. I'm going to be going over something at OMG Live that I've developed for a long time called Power Blocks that literally is going to, it's going to change how you do clients and everything. So I pretty much know within a 60-day window when I'm going to be able to get a client ranked, time, resources, everything it's going to take, and know that literally in seconds. So I tell them that it's going to take, if I know it's going to take me 6 months, I normally say it's going to take 7 to 8 months. I always give myself an extra 60 days. Then I allow there to be a 90-day grace period after that. In other words, I won't charge them if I go past my deadline. And there's another 90-day grace period after that. I've never had to use a 90-day grace period. As far as, guys, when you have PBNs, you got to pay for hosting. There's no way around that. And I never look at clients are paying for specific PBNs. They're doing this or they're doing that. I don't really do SEO like that. I don't set aside a block of PBNs for a particular client. My PBNs, or however I rank, is used for everything. It's not used for, oh, all right, Joe Plumber and Danny Roofing, they have this block, they have that block. I don't do it like that. Other people can. I don't. And if they stop paying, they stop paying. And, they paid for my services for 6 months or 4 months. And I'm going to continue to host their links for what I feel is a reasonable period of time. And it's just part of doing business. I'm not going to be the type of person that if someone stops paying or they just don't understand how long it's taking. A lot of times when you have clients and it gets to the 90-day mark, they get a little antsy. 90 days is a long time. If I told you I had to be in jail for 90 days, it's a long time. So even though that I frame these people perfectly and we go 90 days, they still start getting antsy if they don't see a lot of movement in 90 days. Like, hey, well, why aren't we on page 1? Well, it's a very difficult keyword. You got to re-explain things. If they decide, well, listen, think I'm too much in. I'm like out. The next day, I'm not pulling all their links. That's not the type of person I am, and I wouldn't encourage you to be the same way. They did pay for 3 months worth of work, and I'm not going to be vindictive because they stopped or they just didn't believe that SEO doesn't work anymore. So that's not what I do, but I host all my PBNs for as long as I want to keep them. And I use my PBNs for multiple clients, not just one client, one PBN. I've never did that. Greg and Derek might have totally different answers. I'll let them answer as well.
Greg, you want to go?
I mean, I usually leave up the links just for the testing data. I mean, I don't, it doesn't matter to me. I just leave them up. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I leave.
Sorry, sometimes I will use PBNs for multiple clients. It depends.
Yeah, I mean, I'll leave mine up. Usually, unless it's, if it's a dedicated PBN and it expires, I'm not gonna. Unless I can reuse it somewhere else, then I'll take it down. But or if it gets penalized, I'll take it down.
Sure. I mean, under those circumstances, absolutely. But I'm not sure you guys don't do it for just vindictive ways, just because someone decided that they just want to stop.
It's a waste of time.
Exactly. So great. Next question is, if you have an existing site in WP and WordPress with a bunch of pages, is there a tool we can use to help sort out the silos and make them correct?
Screaming Frog will be the best source, and especially if they have lots of pages. We'll have to do a webinar on that one day.
Okay, sounds good. So Derek just told us Screaming Frog, so we'll go to the next question. It says, hey, Cotton and Greg, I've been purchasing PBN exactly the way Greg teaches for a while now, but within my budget. I hardly ever pay more than $200 for a decent PBN. It's becoming clear that some clients, I need more power to get them off page 2 and 3 to page 1 for their mid-high competition keywords. How much can I expect to pay for a PBN that will have enough power to get me there? Well, there's a lot of information here that you're missing, which is how long have you been trying to rank them? How many links have you been putting out towards them that you're stuck on page 2 or 3? A lot of times when I start digging in deeper to these sorts of questions, they haven't linked out for 2 weeks, or they just started the client 45 days ago. and you're on page 2 and you're freaking out because you're not even more. So a lot more information needs to be done, but we'll just go ahead and pretend that you're doing everything right and just say, Derek, how much more? You're the one that's going to have a better grasp here. You and Greg, you guys are in PBNs a whole lot more than I am at this point. What can he look to pay if he wanted a good super nuclear laser beam PBN to push stuff up?
Yeah, like I personally, I don't spend more than 200 now for a PBN, but I mean, I've had days where I used to spend like 1,200, 2,000 sometimes, but it's just it's just there's too much risk on some of those PBNs for that kind of money. Just to put a couple of links up there and get a little bit of movement, but usually I just for a $200 PBN, instead of just doing the one post, build like an entire silo and just kind of power up that single outbound link, and therefore you can recycle a lot more of that link juice from there, and then so you don't need to have, instead of using 30 PBNs, you can get away with 10. So.
Mm-hmm. Greg, what about you? If someone wanted to go out and buy a super high-powered PBN, what are they looking at?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to answer that because it all depends on your buying skills. Like, I mean, I get DA30, TrustFlow 30 sites with quality links for $69 still. It just takes deep research and time. Like, I spend a lot of time researching when I'm looking for PBNs. There's certain things I look at where I just try to find things where people aren't looking. So, I mean, it's tough to say an exact number. It just depends on your experience. But you can definitely spend $300 on the normal ones and get a powerful site, like the obvious PR4s that that a lot of people are going after. You can still get those for $300 fairly easy.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, the moral of the story is what I'm hearing is if you want high-powered quality PBNs for a discounted price, even Greg Morrison's got to put his skin in the game and get some work into it. Right?
And just think outside the box a little bit. Like everyone's going after the high PR ones. Remember, PR is not everything. I mean, look at low PR. Just a lot of people are the lower PR.
Yeah.
So just think outside the box with stuff like that, and you can find great. I mean, like I said, $69 I get TrustFlow 30 sites that's real TrustFlow.
Yeah. So. I'm going to give you guys a big hint also. Just don't look at GoDaddy only. I mean, that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Yeah. I mean, that's what a lot of people are doing. You're just looking at GoDaddy auctions. So the next question is, do you shy away from buying sites that where the owner could possibly report you? For instance, I was looking at a great golf course website today as a PBN, but was afraid to buy it because I have other sites that got de-indexed, and all I can figure is the old owner reported the site. I don't think that's it, but what do you think, guys?
I think no. I mean, if you start worrying about stuff like that, you're going to be spending too much time thinking about stuff you can't control. I mean, if it's like a very obvious situation, like I've had like if you have like a big trademark in the domain name, like Red Cross I've had before, and I've had problems with that. Stay away from it. But anything else, don't worry about that type of stuff. I mean, I've had instances where something like that, like a big popular golf course, where the previous owner was like, "Hey, that's my site." And I'm like, "Well, if you want it back, you got to buy it." You know what I mean? So I wouldn't worry about that stuff, especially now for de-indexing.
Yeah, remember, guys, if you watched the webinar last week, don't worry about problems you don't have. I mean, that's one that you just don't have. So great. Next question is it harder to rank a one-page WordPress site, or should I have a minimum amount of pages, Greg Morrison?
Yes, it's harder. I would say it's harder to rank a one page, but you can still do it. So, I mean, you probably want to get more paid. I wouldn't say there's a minimum, but the more pages you have, the easier it's going to be for the most part. But at the same time, I have one-page sites ranking fine.
Yeah. I find that if you have like a total of 2,000 words on a site, whether it's just one page or 5 pages, it's a lot easier to rank. Yeah. So even if it's just one page, there's enough content there.
True, very true.
Okay, there you guys go. Guys, I'm just telling you, these guys are dropping some bombs right now that I'll be taking notes. I mean, they're just kind of letting it casually slip out, and You know, it's a lot of information, guys. It's some powerful information too. So just don't think because they're just talking about it casually. That's important information. Next question is for Derek. Once your SEO client achieved the rankings, do you charge them the same amount monthly to maintain their rankings? Do you do maintenance or do you charge them? I don't know, like 50% less. What do you do?
No, I just continue to charge them until if they cancel or if they really want to renegotiate. But usually, like I just say that, like when you're number one, you're at the king of the castle now, and it's like you bypass other people to get there. And it's not like they don't realize that, right? And they're going to start being more aggressive with their link building. So a lot of times that you need to stay on top by link building, right?
Great. Next question. Cotton, did you use a plugin to create your city pages on cottongrammar.com? Absolutely not. Come on. That's all manual. I don't need a plugin to build a site. So no, there was no plugin. Everything about cottongrammar.com from the video. You know, Greg's doing frequently asked questions. I'm going to get one of the most asked questions I've got. No, I don't use outsourcers. No, I don't have one VA. No, I did not. My whole website was done by myself and by Mark. Yes, I wrote on my website. Yes, I did the video. Yes, I wrote the video. Yes, I shot the video all myself. Yes, I did all the work myself. Yes, I do all the SEO for my clients. No, I don't outsource any of my SEO out anywhere. And yes, I do it all. And I work anywhere from 10 to 16 hours a day. So we just covered all my frequently asked questions in 30 seconds. We can move to the next one. I have a possible Canadian client in promotional marketing at branded websites, golf balls, and pens, and they want to target national keyword rankings. What Google Biz page and Facebook page would you build for them? And if you had any other tips that you could help, cheers.
Well, I mean, the Facebook business page there's no difference between Canadian one and US one. It's just you're going to still build. It's just building like any other business. Google for the Google Plus though, like if they do have a headquarters, I would build a local one just for that headquarters. And then if they have any other local regions, then you can have different business pages for those ones. But a lot of times you can just build like an organization page for that one if they don't have a physical address that they want to display or anything like that. So.
Good. We'll move to the next question. Question for Greg. I've had a website for 5 years now that monetizes selling tickets to sporting events. It has keywords like Dallas Cowboy tickets, Miami Dolphins tickets. The big players like Ticketmaster, Tickets.com, and StubHub have page one, and I've been told that these keywords are too difficult to rank for. So I wanted to ask if using all the tools in OMG, if it was possible to rank for some of these keywords. I have over 300 pages on my website. It's written in HTML and JavaScript.
Very, very funny question because I've actually been on page one for those terms for a client. It was a second-hand client. It was someone kind of hired me, like an SEO person kind of hired me to do it. By the time they got to page one, they weren't paying enough. They didn't want to pay more, which was the plan. And once they got to page one, they were going to pay more, so we put more into PBNs. So, I mean, your answer is yes, it can be done, but those are competitive terms. It takes a lot to get ahead of like StubHub and all that.
Great. One of the things I would have to say, Jerry, also is I agree with what Greg says 100%. If you're just getting into OMG and you're not making $10,000 a month, I would not put all your time and energy into this for your first project. I mean, literally, I just wouldn't. I would go out and try to get some clients and make some money first. This is crazy. I'm ranking keywords, sporting keywords right now, very similar to this, and it's literally it's the big leagues. So yeah, very, very. I mean, you got to eat your Wheaties, and you got to know. What I'm saying is if you don't have several number ones with PBNs and other semi-competitive places, you need to go do that before you figure out how to do this, because these keywords right here are big league keywords right here. Next question is, It says, does Mike have a first beard like Chuck does? I don't know what that means, but that's just...
A fist behind his beard.
Oh, a fist behind his beard. Oh, I have no idea what that means either. Maybe I'm just slow tonight. I have no idea. So, next question. Cotton, what do you use to make your webinar advertisements, and where can I get pics to use that? It's called Photoshop, and that's what you need to do. Learn Photoshop. I've been using Photoshop for, I don't know, 12 years, so that's where it is. Gregory Ortiz says, hey, Gregory Ortiz, you need to be working, so listening to webinars. You say you're going to work 15 hours a day.
Yeah. What are you doing taking a break?
Don't be taking breaks, Ortiz. Don't be taking breaks. You're only at $75,000 a month. Come on. Next question is, hi, Cotton. I'm new to OMG, and I'm finding it difficult to explore OMG's website. It is heavy on text. Could you please point me in the right direction to start from? Yes. Here's what I'm going to tell you. The first thing I would do is log on to Project Breakthrough, scroll all the way down, and I want you to look for my name under coaching section. I want you to watch last week's webinar. And I promise you that after you watch last week's webinar, you'll never ask me that question again. Guys, listen, I'm going to say this. I know this is going to sound harsh. You spent $7,000 to get an OMG, and you find it difficult to find information. And I get this question all the time. It's the same information that I am successful with, that Derek, that every person that you see in Income Report has. I will say this once again, and I've said it in every webinar. Watch everything Greg Morrison does. Everything. And then after you've done that, I want you to watch it again. And after you've watched that, I want you to watch it again. Then I want you to watch the Iowa City modules, the Iowa City SEO modules. Watch that. Once you've grasped all that information, you need to start taking action, buying PBNs. As a matter of fact, what I did is I watched Greg's videos and I was doing it side by side. Pause it, do it, pause it, do it, pause it, do it. You need to get on Greg Morrison's webinars every Monday. You need to drill Greg with questions and you know that you're having problems with. But guys, what I don't want you to do is I don't want you to treat Derek, Greg, or myself like we're your VAs, because we're not your VAs. We're not here to tell you where videos are. We're not here to tell you, where to find things at. That's your job to find these things at. We're here to help you when you get stuck in action. When you're stuck in action, I will answer your text at midnight to help you. But understand this, Greg Morrison, an incredibly successful guy. Derek Wasiak is, Fletch is, Joe Marfolio is, all the OMG coaches. We run multi-million-dollar firms. Please be respectful when you ask questions like, Cotton, where is this video at? I mean, it's like, so my time is less valuable than yours. So just find it. It's there. Just find it. So that right there is going to give you the mind frame to not get stuck with every other thing. I don't want to build people at $10,000 a month that need their hand held. I never asked one question the whole time I was in OMG. I never asked anyone where videos was and everything. And I got it done. So guys, please, you new people, be very respectful of coaches' times. We're here to help you, but we're not here to be your virtual assistants and helping you find videos and just helping you with other things. When you're caught in action and need help, we want to be able to help you because there's literally thousands and thousands of hours worth of videos in OMG. I just gave you the thing. Watch all Greg's videos and then watch them again. Watch them 3 times, especially sink or swim. Then go watch the Iowa City SEO modules, then start taking action. That's the best thing I can tell you. So we won't waste any more time on that. We'll just move to the next question. Hey guys, great information. Do you know if the OMG strategies will work on the Shopify platform? I have contacted Shopify and they state that SEO can be done. Okay. Just wondering if you have any insight. Thank you. Greg, I'll let you answer if Shopify is right in their answer or not, because they would be SEO experts.
Yeah, I don't. It'll work on Shopify. I mean, if it's going to work on anything.
Okay.
Yeah, I've actually used Shopify, and it's actually not bad for SEO. So.
Mm-hmm.
They actually have, I think the DA's in the 50s or something like that, so it's pretty good to start off with.
Greg, I want to ask you a question. Is there anything that SEO doesn't work on?
No, not that I've found.
Derek, is there anything that SEO doesn't work on?
Well, it doesn't walk my dogs.
No, of course it doesn't. It doesn't make a burger either. It doesn't
make me coffee.
Right. But as far as a website goes, is there anything that you have found that SEO will not rank?
If there's anything that you can find out there that doesn't benefit from traffic, then SEO would be pointless. But I have not found that yet.
So, guys, I want to save you guys from pulling your hair out. SEO works for everything. Everything. So just remember that, no matter what. What about Facebook, Derek? Can you use SEO to rank Facebook?
Oh, yeah.
Greg, what about YouTube videos? Can you use SEO for that?
Absolutely.
Wow. What about a Wix site? What about that? What about Twitter? Yeah?
Absolutely. As long as it has content on it.
Great. Good. So I want to make sure that everyone understands this. I have never found anything that cannot be ranked with Greg Morrison SEO. That is why Greg kicked Chuck Norris's ass. Greg, how did that feel when you did that?
Felt great.
Good. Man,
accomplished.
I know. You guys, did you have a bet of, the person that lost had to shave their beard? Is that it?
That's right. And he was shaving all night.
Oh, that's great. Derek, Steven wants to know where you can get those PBNs for $30.
Yeah, I posted it to everyone there. So Juicy Domains, we have custom orders, so anyone ordering. If you need to get more than like 10 PBNs at a time, we actually do all the research for you. So
great. And we're going to answer 2 or 3 more questions, and we're going to turn it over to Greg. It says, this is my first time buying PBNs on my own. Who can I send my PBNs to ask them if I did a good job picking them out or not? Well, Steven, Derek loves doing that. You can just friend Derek on Facebook. Guys, listen, here's another thing that I want you guys to do right now that's very important that just reminded me, is that if you want to personal message anyone on Facebook, if you're not friends with us, we cannot, it'll go to the other inbox. Right now, I want you to take 30 seconds out of your time right now. And you should have already done it. You should have already friended Greg Morrison. I already posted on there, Derek, myself, Fletch, Joe Marfolio, Stephen Floyd. You need to personal message all these people, because if you're not our friends, it's going to go to the other box, and then you're going to think we're ignoring you, and we're not. So you can also, I will also include myself if you want to send, and just don't go crazy, because I've had a lot of people go crazy. Like every 14 minutes, they're sending me another PBN. If you want to send me 5 or 6 PBNs to look at once, I'll be more than happy to tell you what I think. But please don't do this, guys. Please don't send them to Derek, to Greg, to me, to Joe, to Fletch, and then gather all of our data. That is wasting all of our time. Pick out one coach, and we all talk to each other every day. So if we find out that you're doing that, we'll start to ignore you. Pick out one coach that you want to get the information from, send them the information. That way we can get to everyone's questions when we have time. So I generally try to answer questions for about 15, 20 minutes every day. So just keep that in mind, and please be respectful. Next question is, how many keywords do you rank for your client? Do you do pricing based on quality of keyword? If you get a new client, will you rank them for 3 keywords, 6 keywords or more? How much will you charge? Just depends. That's a tough question. I generally won't do any more than a couple keywords. And then if they want more, I charge more. And then generally the keywords that they wanted anyway are going to get pulled up by the vacuum of the power of the SEO that I'm doing on their site. So they're pretty much going to move up anyway. So, I charge everything based on the difficulty of how hard it's going to be to take them to number one. That's exactly what I do my pricing by. And my basement price to work with me, we're like talking about a homeless person, who's got a business. It's $4,000 a month. That's my basement. So, Derek, you want to answer?
Yeah, I mean, I try to get maybe 5 keywords other than like their actual keywords that would make the most improvement for their business, and then I'll just claim to anything that's similar or long tail, I'll claim along with it, right? But just because I use those for diversity or just even quick ranking sometimes, but it's usually just the main keywords. Otherwise, I can't stand it when a client sends me like 300 keywords. I'm like, oh, well, pick the ones you want. I'm not gonna rank 200 keywords and check or track each one of those. So.
Great. One last question. This looks like it's straight up a Greg Morrison question. It says, if all PBNs are set up on WordPress, does that leave a footprint, or should I mix up the PBNs?
There's been no problems with that at all. And remember, if you're worried about that, you can always get other types of links. You can do press releases, you can do black commenting. I mean, you can mix it up that way. You don't have to have just PBN links if you're worried about that. But I have plenty of sites with all just PBN WordPress links, and I have absolutely no problems. So many sites are WordPress now. So.
Yeah, it's like it's the most popular content management system on the planet. So you're kind of hiding in plain sight with everyone else, right?
Yep. One last question I find very interesting of those scrolling down towards the bottom. Hey guys, is it possible for non-US OMGer to get some story on your live assimilation? Really want to come, but it'll be a 12-hour flight. How about notes or a live video? I mean, we paid for the same price. So, guys, let me just go into the assimilation tours are free. It's a social. That's it. There's no lesson. There's no anything, and it's free. Like this Saturday in Chicago, we told you where we're going to be. You show up. You don't have to buy a ticket. You just show up. We are in the hotel bar. You show up. We hang out for 4 or 5 hours, talk to everybody, meet everybody. That's it. It's nothing. There's no lesson. There's no keynote speech. There's no anything. It is a social. That is exactly what it is. So notes or live video, that's it. There's nothing to go on about. I mean, if you want to sit and drink a beer with Greg Morrison and chat about, how he got successful, or Greg might, have a drink or two and get real generous with a PBN secret that he's doing, or Derek Wasiak or myself, that's what the assimilation is. Now, OMG Live, that is a totally different event. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. That is an event that I'm going to tell you right now. I've warned you guys. And I'm going to say this, OMG Live, and I could get in trouble for saying this, but that's okay. OMG Live last year, I thought wasn't that good. It just wasn't. And this year, I promise you, it is going to be a roller coaster ride. It's going to be a 3-day assimilation webinar. And if you don't make it this November, you could be left a year behind. I'm dead serious when I say that. David Mills and I are in charge of all the content and how it's going to flow out all through OMG Live, and I am making it into a 3-day roller coaster assimilation webinar that with literally Greg Morrison, myself, Jimmy Kelly, Derek Wasiak, Stephen Floyd, Liz Herrera, and other guests that El Fletch, Joe Marfolio, that I have not named. If you don't make this event, I don't want to hear you complaining, 6 months from now when we're all ranking and you can't figure out what happened. Now, everything we have in OMG works. There's certain things that we can never talk about in the open. We just can't because of piracy and other stuff. You're getting over $250,000 worth of information by just being a member of OMG. But there are certain trade secrets and certain things that all of us do that we will never reveal out in the open public. We just won't. And you have to respect that. It is our livelihood. It is how we make are hundreds of thousands of dollars every month. And that will only be shared when you sign a non-disclosure in a non-video, non-recording environment in front of a live audience, and you can take all the notes you want. But I can tell you the information of what we're going to be talking about this November. It will be the greatest SEO event ever held on this planet. That I can promise you. So with that, we're going to tail into, and we'll give you more information about that. With that, we're going to tail into, that's the end of the questions, and we're going to move into turning it over to Greg. And Greg is literally one of my good friends. And for those of you that are new, if it wasn't for Greg, I wouldn't have the success that I have. Greg is the original one-man gang of OMG. He is the SEO scientist that is in the background doing research and development for 12 or 15 hours a day. He's a relentless worker. He's a grinder. He doesn't slow down. If Google comes up with an update, we generally know when it happens because of Greg. And, there's two people that are really ultimately responsible that have taught me. And trust me, if you would like to be at $500,000 a month, that's where I'm at. I got that from Greg Morrison and from Fletch. So these are the two guys that I followed, that I followed everything about their SEO to the T. Never asked them any questions. Just watched the videos, did what they did, and now I'm able to call these guys my good friends. So you guys have a rare opportunity tonight where Greg is on one of the assimilation webinars. And I think these questions are going to be very valuable to you because Greg wanted to sit down and do a webinar that was literally about the most frequently asked questions that he gets. And it's smart because what Greg wants to do is answer questions that he can really help someone with when they're stuck. But when you get the same questions over and over again, you really want to address it all at once. And then Greg can route these people to this webinar and say, watch the frequently asked questions webinar and you'll have all of your questions answered about this particular subject. So these are going to be some of the most burning questions that you guys have asked over the last few months that Greg has compiled. And I've had a chance to look at them. I think they're amazing. If I was you guys, you probably will be watching this webinar 2 or 3 times just to make sure that you got everything right. And some of these, everything is very current to you making money and ranking in Google right now. So with that, Greg, I've got the slides ready to go. Do you want me to move the slides along when you want me to, exactly in the order of the email?
Yeah, it's fine with me.
Cool. Well, guys, if you're ready, I want you to give me hashtag Greg wins. We have 400 people on right now. I want to see 300 hashtag Greg wins. Greg fought Chuck Norris. Chuck lost. Chuck will always lose when he goes after that. Oh, look. He says, what? I'm not your VA? Oh, we got some action on right here. Chuck Norris died, but he's all right now. So, guys, I want to see these pouring in. Pouring in. Greg wins. I think Greg should walk if we don't get 300 of these things. I want you guys to show Greg your love. Get these hashtag Greg wins going. And I'm going to turn it over to Greg. He's going to take you to church. So we got him going. Look at that, Greg. People love you, man. Greg wins. Greg, be honest. Did you ever believe 5 years ago that you would be in a position where you had 300 people following your every move, that you're at the top of your field at a profession, and everyone giving you hashtag Greg wins?
Absolutely not. But it's important to note that I did believe that I would be making the type of money I am.
True. I believe that, dude. You're as hard as nails, man. But even though Kurt Inget's on here saying Greg wins, it's too bad that yeah, right there. Too bad Kurt can't make it to Chicago, but Kurt said he's ready to throw down in Miami. So,
yeah, Kurt's an SEO beast, and he's always on my webinars.
Yeah.
He always on my webinars.
Kurt's a man. That's for sure. We got to spend some good time.
Probably one of the best SEO recovery guys that's out there, I think.
He is. He's amazing. So, Greg, I think we've got plenty of these on here for Greg wins. So we'll start out with the first question. So if you guys are ready, we're going to get going with the very first question. Here it is. Greg, I'll let you read these, and I'll just move them along as I need to.
Oh, you know what I was actually going to show my screen for a lot of these. So I don't know if the slides are going to work.
Okay. You can
I
just
didn't think about that.
you can just take it over, man. You can just take it over.
All right, let me grab it. So let me know when you can see it.
Looks like you took it over. We got your screen right now.
All right, cool. So first question is, I don't understand your PBN hosting technique. So people don't understand how to host PBNs correctly. All right. So what we recommend is using regular host. Okay. So all you gotta do is go to Google, type in list of hosting providers, and we'd like to blend in. Okay. You can click this first one here, and you see a whole bunch of hosts here. These are all hosts, the types of hosts you can use to host your website. Okay. Just regular shared hosting. I'm going to go into the setup, the actual spreadsheets I use, and all that stuff. What I look for when I go to these hosts, like for example, let's just go to Bluehost. What I like to do is look for simple setup. So for most of us, we're not really technical, so you want to try to see if they have a one-click install for WordPress. All right. Usually they'll list it on their website somewhere. Just look for like features and then look for one-click install, like for like WordPress. If they don't have it, try emailing support. Because I've signed up for some of these hosting companies where you have to like upload through FTP and all that, like for WordPress. And for some people that's easy. For me, I don't want to have to go through all that. So I personally look for hosting companies that have one-click install. All right. This is the type of hosting we use. Just go look for hosting providers, shared hosting. Sign up for hosts like this. You can get it for like $5-6 a month a lot of times. And this is the type of stuff we use. Okay. So when you get when I set up my hosting, I do it through two spreadsheets. Okay. I have one where I log all of my money site stuff, which you can see in this spreadsheet. And I have one where I log it in, like I list all my PBNs. Okay. So first, let's cover this one where I list my PBN. So, for example, HostGator. They're a shared host. All right, if we go back to this screen right here, HostGator is a very popular host. They're right here. Okay, this is a well-known, popular shared hosting. Okay, you can get plans from $3.96 as low as $3.96 a month. So I will sign up for that. Okay, and I'll start putting PBNs on there. And yes, you can put multiple PBNs on the same host. Okay, so here I have 3 PBNs on this host. That's totally fine to do. What you can't do is link out to the same money site from any of these sites. All right. So if I link out the money site 1 from PBN1, money site 1 cannot be linked to again from any site on this HostGator account. All right. So this is why I have like the double check system. So for example, I got PBN1 here linking out to NashvilleSEO.org. Okay. And then on this spreadsheet, here's my money site that I'm linking to. Okay, from NashvilleSEO.org. And I have it for PBN1 here, so I have it written down on that other thing. Okay, these were just examples. Probably should have changed these. So I don't have 5 and 6 over there. All right, so that's my check system where I list first all of the PBNs that I have on a particular host. Okay, and then when you can see what I have here. I list the DA, the CF, the TF. Okay, I list the category it's in. These are both from Majestic. If I put it on IFTTT or not, usually I don't do this, so don't worry about that. The penalty test, which we're going to cover later. Did it pass the penalty test, or do I still have to check it? Okay, I'll explain this one later. The amount of posts I have on the PBN. So on this particular PBN, I have 4 pages linking out to one site. I just list the the registration, so where the PBN is hosted. This one's with Enom. This is just an example, remember. The name servers for this hosting account, I just list that just to have it. Who is information, is it private or is it fake or is it public? Usually it's either private or fake. And then the target site, the login, and the password for the PBN. And that's how I set this up. Okay. There'll be a replay for this where you can go over all this. You can copy this exact spreadsheet. For now, I just want to cover what all this means. So, for example, this PBN in my list would still be open, so I could still use this. But I could not use it to link out to NashvilleSEO.org because NashvilleSEO.org has already been linked to from this host. So I would have to use Apollo. Okay, or one of my other hosts, which I don't have anymore listed. All right, so if I wanted to link out to NashvilleSEO.org, I could not use 2 or 3. I would have to use 4, or any other host other than HostGator. All right, and Cotton or Derek, if I'm confused, if anything I say is confusing, please stop me and just ask or anything like that. All right. So then
Hey,
again,
just a question: are those, Craig? Are you saying that those are all the PBN123? That they're all still on different IPs and stuff, right? Or are they just all the same?
these are all in the same IP. They're all in the
Okay.
same HostGator account.
Okay.
So that's why PBN1 linking to nationalseo.org. This is why nationalseo.org cannot be linked to from these two.
Yeah, that's what I was clarifying.
It's already being linked to by a PBN on this account because all these are going to have the same IP, same exact IP, name server, all that. So we can only use it for one money site. All right. And then again, I'll post it in the money site section. So I do money site, so the target that I'm going to, okay, where the PBN is hosted, and where it's registered. Okay, so this one's GoDaddy, obviously, and HostGator. We just got that information. This Wayback is if I rebuilt the site in the Wayback machine or not. Don't worry about that, most of you. The anchor text I used, the date I did it, the blog site I did it from, or the PBN I did it from. And then this right here is more just for tracking. You know, I'm saying, okay, before I did this link, I was in position number 16 for Nashville SEO. All right, and these are my two spreadsheets that I use for all my stuff. And I got all my PBNs listed in here, you know, under all my, so my real one, I have HostGator and I have about 15 PBNs. You know, I have Apollo, I have about 10 to 15 PBNs. I have PalWeb, 10 to 15, like I have a whole bunch of different shared hosts, all right? And then I just log them into the money site on this side like that, okay? If there's any questions on that, we can go over that. This is the most probably complex part of my questions. So if you have any questions on this, please let me know because this is a big one.
Guys, give me a 1 if you're understanding everything that Greg's saying. Give me a 1. Give me a 2 if you're lost. We're getting a lot of 1s. Awesome. There is no 2s. We got 1, 2. Looks like we're batting about 99%. So, guys, if you don't understand it, give me a 2. We want to make sure 2, but they're still new. Great. It says, Greg, are you going to back this spreadsheet based on?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
Great. We're having two people saying that they're uber new, but you guys will understand this when you come back and watch this. That's the best part about it, and we're going to get to some questions that you'll really glad that you sat through this webinar and listened to. That's going to help you while you go through Greg's training. So just hold tight. I appreciate you new people for being on here, but guys, and we're like sorry for the terminology. CF is citation flow. TF is trust flow. That is from majestic.com, which is a kind of a barometer of what we look at of how trusted a site is in Google. So when you hear DA, PA, that's domain authority, page authority. CF is citation flow. TF is trust flow. And these are some of the things that we can go through. I try to be conscientious that we have some new people on. But great job, Greg. I'll let you continue.
All right, awesome. So another common question I get is, can you get multiple accounts for the same host? You can, but there's really no reason to. I mean, there's so many hosts out there. I would spread it out because, I mean, you can still run into problems doing that. You can be put on the same server. I mean, I just get different hosts each time, all right? There's so many out there. So if we have a client that requires 30 PBNs, we would need 30 hosts. Yes, essentially this way you would, okay? But you can put as many PBNs as you want on a particular hosting account. Someone else asked that. Now, if you have, like, how many hosts you need to use depends on how many, like, your situation. Like, if you have 20 different clients who are only going to need, like, 1 or 2 links, you can go with 1 or 2 hosts and just put 20 sites on each host. That's fine to do. So it depends on your situation on how many hosts you're going to need for what you're doing. The more competitive and all that, the more hosts you're going to need. And it's a pain to set up, but I mean, it's the natural way to do it. And I'm going to show you something of why in just a little bit. All right, so I mean, I think that's most of the questions on this. We can go to the next one. If you guys see anything big that stands out, let me know. 2 hosting companies that you don't want to use that are on that list that I found so far are .easy and 24/7 Hosting. They have some footprints where you just do not want to use these 2 companies. So don't use .easy or don't use 24/7 Hosting. I'm about to explain why right now. It kind of ties in with this question. Is IP networks bad to use? Should I switch? What I'm going to say is I don't think they're safe to use is what I just showed. Okay, and I'm about to show you why. As I was preparing for this webinar, actually, I found this, and it's just something on top of them just, I mean, it's like a shortcut. Shortcuts always get kind of they end up being a shortcut. They'll hurt you in the end. So let me show you guys something. All right, I'm going to do something called a DNS lookup and a reverse IP lookup. All right. Now, if I did this for all the regular hosts that I'm using on this list right here, what you'll see is like these hosts right here, minimum amount of other sites being hosted with your site was 100, okay? With most of them, average being a few hundred sites on that host. You're about to see what I'm talking about in a minute. Some of them being tens of thousands of sites being hosted on the same host where you are, the same IP, all right? So right here I have 80 sites on IP networks, okay? Just kind of test sites, stuff like that. And I just did a indexing check, and 54 of them are still indexed. 26 were de-indexed. I had no problems with my other hosts, with my regular hosting, unless there was some type of footprint issues. All right. So here's 3 sites that were de-indexed from IP networks. I'm going to show you something. So what we're going to do is called an IP or a DNS lookup to get the IP of the site. We're going to copy that IP address. We're going to put it into a reverse IP lookup. And right here, we got only 34 other domains are hosted on this IP address. Okay? So if we do the next one, do a DNS lookup and get the IP. Copy this IP. Put it in here. 36 for this one. All right, and the next one I have on the list is like 40. The point is there's something going on here, something weird with this hosting provider. I don't know what it is, I'm not technical, but all the sites on their network have 30, 40 domains hosted on a particular IP address. When I'm checking these regular hosts that I recommend, you know, you'll get like, okay, like 300 other sites listed on this one, 1,200 listed on this one, 10,000 listed on this one, you know, 296 listed on this one. You guys see the pattern there? Whereas with IP networks, you got 30, 35, 40, 30, 35, 33, 32. So there's something going on there that's weird that I think is a problem that IP networks, it's part of the problem that IP networks is having. Now, there is people using IP networks that still have sites that are totally fine. Stephen Floyd's talked about this, where it's likely a combination of factors that comes together for de-indexing. One of those could be something like this. You know, this is uncommon to have all your sites on particular IPs that only have this many other domains with it. There's something going on there. Like they're using really small hosts or something.
Can I say something?
Okay, what's that?
Like if you look at IP networks and you actually reverse engineer their IPs and you actually start looking at all the domains that they're actually hosted on those IPs, you'll see a different pattern there. Like it's everyone's using that for just PBNs, where versus on like if you're using GoDaddy and they have like 300 on that IP, there's going to be 99% of them are real sites. So exactly. You're hiding a lot better in plain sight that way, right?
Exactly, well explained. And it's been confirmed that Google does chop bad networks. So yeah. In a case like this where you have less domains on a host and most people are using these for PBNs, remember Google's probability based. If you got 25 out of 36 even sites that are PBNs on here, you know, thin content, they can take out this whole IP, and we've confirmed that they will do that. So, do I recommend using IP networks? No. Are they bad to use? It can be. Should you switch your sites if you're on there? If it's for an important project, I personally would. That you got to decide what you want to do and what risks you want to take. But I just kind of went over IP networks, and look, I've had a network taken out of hundreds of sites, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and it's not fun. Not just the PBNs you lose, but also the penalties it passes to money sites and all that. You don't want that. Trust me, I've been through it. Step things that, you know, this way takes longer, but it's safer. You blend in, and you're not going to run into those problems long term. So I don't recommend IP networks or anything like that. Just go with the way I showed first. Take some more time and all that again, but it's going to help you down the road. All right, next question. Can I use SEO hosting? You can use SEO hosting, but there's no really point to do it anymore because you kind of have to use it the same way that you do these. You know what I mean? So if you had like SEOhosting.com here, Remember, Google now tracks on a hosting basis. So if you're sending, even though these are all on different IPs, if you have, PBN6, PBN7, PBN8, if you send these all to the same money site, yeah, they all have different IPs, whereas these all have the same IPs, but they're still all coming from the same host, and that can cause problems. So you can still use SEO hosting, but there's really no reason to. All right, I still use it for a little bit because I have sites that I don't feel like moving, and that's the only reason. If I had the time or the energy to move the sites, I wouldn't be using it because it's just more expensive. You're going to be using $5 per IP on average, right, where you can get a whole hosting account for $5. So you can use it, but there's no reason to. Do you still use Link Juice Keeper? I do. Okay, but I also do manual 301s in some cases. So what I'll do usually is I'll put my PBN in Open Site Explorer or something like that. So let me just grab a site here, just a random site, and I'll throw it in Open Site Explorer or anything. And then I'll go to top pages. And like this, okay, this is a perfect example. In this domain, I would probably just manually 301 it, okay? I would just 301 this page to the home page, and then this page to the home page. There's no reason to use Link Juice Keeper because all these have 0 links. I mean, you're doing naked redirect. I mean, redirects are doing nothing for you. Most of the links are going to the home page. There's no reason to use Link Juice Keeper. What Link Juice Keeper does is it redirects any links that are going to non-existing pages to the home page. In this case, there's only 2 of those pages. You might as well just manually 301 them. And I do that so I don't have Link Juice Keeper on all my domains and because I don't want a whole bunch of pages with no links going to them redirected to the home page. So in this case, I would not use Link Juice Keeper. Now, if there was a whole bunch of pages and these all had numbers next to them, I would use Link Juice Keeper because I'm not going to manually go and manually redirect this many pages. Okay. So I still use it on probably most of my sites still, but a site like this, I would not use it. I would just manually 301 them. To do that, you install a WordPress plugin called Simple 301 Redirects. Once you install it, you'll know what to do. They give great directions. All right, so it's very easy. Let's see. Is this PBN or money site penalized? All right. So people will message me all the time saying, here's PBN, can you tell me it's penalized? Here's a money site, can you tell me it's penalized? I'm going to recover the penalty check right now because a lot of people get that wrong. The penalty check is not necessarily just site name com. Okay, so let's go to let's see. We'll use this guy here. All right. So what most people are doing with a penalty check is they're just doing this. Okay, they'll type in the site. Okay, it passes that one, then they'll delete this. And he shows up, but for someone that doesn't show up, they're like, oh no, I didn't show up, I'm penalized. Not necessarily, okay? It depends on competition, and it also depends on the amount of authority this site has, right? The link's going to it. A lot of people with expired domains run into this problem because there's not as much power going to them as there is for like auction domains, which is what I use. So what you have to do is you have to start combining titles with this check, all right? And you might have to make up a weird title to do that sometimes, depending on the competition and all that. So if this didn't pass, I could do a further test where I would leave it like this. Then I would copy the title or part of the title, all right? So I'd do a space, copy in the title, and it should definitely pass that. Okay, only 1230 results. No reason it shouldn't show for something like this. So if you're doing stuff like this and it's not passing the penalty test, then I would be concerned, okay? But if you're not passing from just doing this, it doesn't mean you have a spam penalty. And remember, this is a spam penalty check. That's it. It doesn't really check for other penalties. It checks for the most important, which is a spam penalty. But just because you don't pass for this with no period doesn't mean you're penalized. Go further into it, copy part of your title, and look further. And also consider how many results there are in the competition, okay? All right, so that's penalty check. We'll do a site that is penalized really quick. This is a site that I did a while ago. So you'll see it comes up when I do that, okay? But when I delete the period, it's nowhere to be found. Because the reason for that is it has a spam penalty. When a site gets a spam penalty, it will not rank on the first, usually 3 pages at least. Definitely not on the second page. Sometimes they'll allow it number 30, but basically when you have a spam penalty, you will not be seen on the first 3 pages unless there's less than 30 results. In this case here, you see we're not anywhere on here, and don't let this confuse you where you see it's not showing here. There will be stats. Okay, I'm sorry. Search instead for DelawareSEO.org. Don't confuse this with your site. This is not my website. This is a subdomain of a stat site. Okay, so don't let that trick you into thinking that's your site. That's not your site. So you see when I do this, my site is not on the first page. All right, so that's not good. Not on the second. Usually I don't even go to the second page. It's not first. I'll just add in part of the title. Not on seconds. Not on thirds. Not on fourth. Not a good sign. All right. So let's go back and grab part of my title. All right, so we got, I'm going to copy the whole title. Then you delete the period again, paste in the title. And this is, this is a really, really powerful tool to be using for any place you get links. All right, now there's only 211 results, and I'm still not number 1 for that. That's very, very bad news. And I already know this site has a spam penalty. So, you know, when you're doing a search like this, you combine this with a title like this, and you only have 211 results. If you're not number 1, you got a spam penalty. There's no doubt about it. Okay, so just be aware of the competition and also the power of the site. You might need to add in a title as well as, you know, site name space, you know, domain extension. All right. So do your check first. If you don't know still, you can message me about it, but I think that's good enough information on how to check. All right, so these all kind of go hand in hand. Am I over-optimized? What is the proper keyword density? How many times should I use my keyword? What is the proper anchor text ratio? What is the proper anchor text percentage do you use? Can I have multiple keywords in the title? Guys, these answers are always going to vary, and I'm going to explain to you why. Let me bring up a new document. The first one, am I over-optimized? It depends on everything. I mean, do you have your keyword in your domain name? How many times is your keyword mentioned in your anchor text? How many times is your keyword mentioned on your page? There's so many factors that I need to know whether you're over-optimized or not. So when I go through all this stuff I'm about to, just be prepared if you're going to ask a question like this to any of the coaches to provide as much information as you can. That includes site name, the links you've done. If you're hiding PBMs, make sure you let us know and what anchor text you use. History of the site. How old is it? When's the last time you sent links? How long you've been sending links? Like, give us as much information as you can, because there's so much stuff that goes into am I over-optimized, what's going on with my site, all those types of questions. All right. So this one right here, what is the proper keyword density, and also what is the proper anchor text? These kind of are similar. So let's bring up a document here. All right. So let's compare 2 terms here. How to lose weight for women over 40 years old. All right, let me increase this text. All right, so this is keyword number 1. All right. Keyword number 2 is lose weight. All right. When you ask this question, what is the proper keyword density, or what is the proper anchor text percentage? My answer is I have no idea unless you at least give me a basic idea of what your keyword is. Because let's consider this. Google's a probability-based algorithm, right? They have to be, because there's billions of pages to index, billions of things to consider to decide which of these billions of pages is going to rank number 1. So they go off probability. So you always have to think of that when you're doing your optimization, whether it's anchor text or on page. All right. So something like this: how to lose weight for women over 40 years old. If you ask me what's the proper anchor text, or I'm sorry, the proper keyword density, which is how many times is this keyword on a page, I'm going to say include this keyword once on your page. Do not include it more than once, because it's so long that the probability of this naturally being repeated more than once is not that good. Okay, so if I have even like 1,000 words, I'm probably still only going to mention the above once, one time. Okay? So that's a keyword density of what, 0.1%? And that would probably work the best for this word right here. All right? And you would also want to be very careful in your anchor text with that. We'll go over that in a second. Whereas lose weight, remember probability. All right? You could probably mention this in your 1,000-word article 40 times without getting a penalty. You could. I wouldn't do it that many, but you could probably mention it that many times and be just as safe as this one right here being mentioned once. Why? Because lose weight is a much shorter keyword that gets searched for a lot more, and it's much more likely to be repeated on a page than this is right here. So when you're talking about proper keyword density for a keyword, always think about probability. How big is the keyword, and what's the probability of being mentioned on a page a particular amount of times? Always start with a lower amount, and you can work your way up if you need to. If you're not ranking where you want, let's say maybe for this one I'll start like 10 times. Maybe I would start there and then increase from there. Okay, 1% increase from there. But a keyword like this that's that big, I'm telling you, you can get away with a lot higher percent than you can right here. And a lot of people don't understand that concept. There's no set keyword density for anything. I mean, it depends on the keyword. How long is it, and what's the probability of being mentioned on a page? Okay? So hopefully that takes care of that question. When you go to anchor text, you're thinking the same thing. What's the proper anchor text percentage? You got to consider all this stuff I just talked about. What's the probability of it being mentioned? Now, if you have 100 links and you mention this keyword twice in your links, you might get hit with over-optimization depending on your other factors because it's such a long keyword. All right? 2 out of 100 you probably wouldn't, but in this case right here, if you do 12 out of 100, you're not going to be anywhere near over-optimization. Again, it goes down to probability. But also remember, when you're thinking of anchor text ratios, it also depends on your domain name. Is the keyword in the domain? And also, is it in the title? Is it in the URL? All that stuff. All right, so that also goes with the anchor text ratios. So when you're asking proper anchor text ratio for a keyword for me, be prepared to tell me all that stuff, or any of the coaches. What your domain name is. Do you have keywords in the domain? Try to get your keyword density for us, and then if you are the anchor text you already have, because it's going to depend on how long it is in your other optimization. Okay, so for on page, it all comes down to probability, and also other optimization factors as well. And then anchor text, again, same thing with the other optimization factors. Does that make sense, Cotton Derek? Just want to make sure I'm not talking in circles.
No, it makes a lot of sense, man. I think you're doing a great job. So, guys, is anyone? Sure,
yeah.
go ahead. I just want to make sure that everyone is getting what Greg is doing. Give me a 1 if you're getting everything that he's like talking about right now. Give me a 1. All ones, Greg. All ones.
All right, awesome. Yeah, and a lot of people go off James Upjohn's advice, which is good advice. This is actually a good thing to go over with the title thing. Is James always tells you go search for what your competition is doing. It's very good advice. But remember, you always got to consider that the competition is going to have different optimization. Okay? So, for example, if you go search for something like Dallas Plumbers, right? People always wonder what's the proper keyword density, or the proper optimization. Should I have keyword in the H1s? It's a great thing, great advice to go look at the competitors, see what they're doing. Go to this site right here and see how many times they're mentioning Dallas Plumbers. Then go to this site here, how many times they mention Dallas Plumbers? Is it in their title? Is it in H1s? Look at all that stuff, but understand that the optimization here is different. These guys, they don't have Dallas Plumbers they don't even have Dallas in there. They have plumbing. These guys do have it in their domain name. That's a big optimization factor, okay? And these guys also could have more anchor text that has Dallas Plumbing in it. These guys could have more that have it in it. So when you're looking at proper keyword density, where to start, look at the competition, but also consider the other factors of optimization. If the keyword's in the domain mainly, and then how many times the keyword is being used in anchor text, okay? And to look that up, you would just throw it in something like Ahrefs or your OMG Command Center or something like that. I like using Ahrefs for anchor text because they list the percentage very well. You just go to anchors, and then you can see the anchor text that they're using. Okay, so they're using a little bit, not that much. All right. So that goes for titles and all that. Like, if you want to use keyword and title or anything like that, look at what your competition is doing, but also just be aware of their optimization, because that does change things around. But I can guarantee you that these guys are similar. These guys might have it like 2, or these guys might have it like 4. You know what I mean? So it's going to be similar. But you can use competition to get a base of how many times you should have a keyword on a page or what your title should be and all that type of stuff. All right, so let's go to the next one. All right, these two go together. Can I link out to multiple money sites on a PBN, and does my PBN have to be themed to one topic? The answer to this, can you link out to multiple money sites on a PBN? Yes, you can. Just know that the more sites you link out to, the more risk. All right. If something happens to that PBN, you have more risk of affecting all these money sites. And also, depending on how you have your money sites hosted, you could be linking to sites on the same IP, so you got to be careful of footprints like that. So, yes, you can do it. Yes, I do it in certain cases. Just be careful, and there's just more risk involved. All right, more bad things can happen. And the opposite side of that, if you just link out to one money site per PBN, it's more time, more money. So you just kind of got to balance it to decide what you want to do. Does my PBN have to be themed to one topic? No, it doesn't to work, no. I think it works better doing it, and that's what I recommend. But you can definitely, no doubt about it, link to multiple topics on one PBN, and it still works well. All right. A lot of sites that rent out links, they'll rent out links to like 10, 20 different sites in totally different niches with no relevant content, and it still works. Okay. They're probably they're getting smarter towards it as we move towards the future, so it might work less and less, but right now it's still working pretty darn good. It just depends what you want to do there. And again, if it's themed to one topic, it does get a little more power, I think. What do you do with de-index PBNs? Depends on what the money site they're linking to is doing. So if I have de-index PBNs that are pointing to a money site that's still ranking, I leave the de-index PBNs up. Just leave them like they are. Don't change anything. If they are linking to a site that got penalized because of the de-indexing, then I take them down, or I'll go and disavow stuff like that. But if the money site doesn't drop, I don't do anything. Okay. Do you try to get PBNs re-indexed? No. No reason. I just go and get new PBNs. All right. Getting stuff re-indexed can be a pain. It can take a lot of time. You can waste a lot of time. I recommend just going and get a new PBN. Why did my site get penalized? Why did my site lose rankings? Why aren't I ranking yet? Again, please, if you're going to ask these questions to any of the coaches, have all the information. How old is the site? What's the site name? What type of linking do you do? When did you start your linking? How many links have you done? What's your anchor text? You got to give us as much information as you can. You can't just say, here's my site. Why won't it rank? We can't answer that. We don't have a crystal ball. You got to give us as much information as you can. Okay. What keyword tool do you use? I literally use my brain and the Google keyword tool. That's it. All right. When I'm doing keyword research, I think of what would I type in if I was trying to find this. Okay. So, for example, when I started e-cigarettes, I thought to myself, man, I know nothing about e-cigarettes. What am I going to do? Well, you can actually type e-cigarettes in and just start there. Okay. You go down to suggested. What are people typing in? Oh, they're typing in e-cigarette reviews, huh? E-cigarette coupons, e-cigarette starter kits. All right, let's do this one, e-cigarette reviews. All right, let's go deeper in here. What are people now searching for? Specific brands. This one doesn't have much, but I use this, and I'll throw keywords like this from here into the Google Keyword Planner. All right, to get there, just go to I just go to Google, and I type in Keyword Planner. And I click on this top link. I don't know my password. Have it copied. But when you go in here, you can, what I would have done probably is signed in here. You can go to as soon as you sign in, there's something where you can type in a keyword to get more ideas. I would have typed in e-cigarette reviews and would have given me a whole bunch of different ideas for keywords. Okay, that's my process. Pretty simple. Use my brain. What would I type in to find stuff, and then type those keywords into the Google keyword tool to get further ideas. That's it. All right, don't use any crazy tools. What rank tracker do I use? I use Microsite Masters. Microsite-masters.com. Not saying they're the best rank tracker, but I have 20,000 keywords in here, and I don't feel like moving them. So, the OMG Command Center has a rank tracker, which I would probably use if I felt like moving, but I just don't feel like moving all those keywords. All right. But I use Microsite Masters. OMG Command Center has a really good tracker. There's a couple other good ones out there, but this is what I use. Do you use vCracken? Do you use PBN Reload still? I don't really, guys. And also the question of using vCracken on a subdomain, is it safe? Does it work? It helps you a little bit. Is it safe for the most part? But it can get you in trouble. Okay. I prefer to have written content now rather than PBNs, or I'm sorry, than videos, just video content. That's me personally. So I don't use PBN Reload a whole lot. The reason it's still in the members area is because it still works. I like PBN Reload on it. They're totally fine. They're working great. That are powering sites that make me a lot of money. So it still works fine. But moving forward, I prefer to do PBNs with content on them, written content. That's just me. How do you rank videos? The same way you rank websites. All right. If you're ranking a YouTube video, the only thing that's different for video is you can embed it on some of your PBNs instead of linking straight to it. But you basically just rank it the same way you do a website. I have XXDA and YYPA. What should I pay? How many links, etc.? So this question goes to people thinking that DA or PA or anything like that is the end-all be-all. Like, someone will come to me and say, hey, I have a 25 domain authority, 30 PA, 30 page authority. How much should I pay for it? Well, that's not the only metric you want to look at. It's just a metric. Okay, that's the point of this question, is understand that metrics are just metrics. You got to look further into things or compare them to other metrics. Now if you have 25 DA, 25 PA, 25 trust flow, and the links look good as far as like being a lot of branded anchor text, that's a lot more specific. But just giving one metric and asking a question about that specific metric, it's not doing a whole lot. So what I want people to understand from this question is, you cannot go off just domain authority. You can't go off just trust flow. You got to look further into things, especially domain authority. That's pretty easy to manipulate. If you have a domain authority 30 site, it can be a great site or it can be a totally horrible site. You got to look further into it. So the main thing I want people to get out of this is you can't use a metric like that and ask a question on it, because we got to know the other details. All right. Then last thing, I think we already covered this. Multiple links per PBN. Again, you can do multiple links from PBN. It's just a little more risky. The footprints, and if something happens to the PBN, it can affect more money sites and all that type of stuff. All right. I think that's it, Cotton, for the questions. And I'll take questions on any of these questions if people have them.
Great. Very valuable information, guys. Before we give Greg a little break here, maybe he needs to drink water or something, let's head over to the Facebook group and make sure that you thank Greg. Just hashtag thanks, Greg. We have well over 400 people on right now. Let's show our appreciation. Guys, this is a lot of valuable information. I see these questions being asked all the time on the Facebook group. And guys, I need your help also. And when you see people asking these questions, I want you to direct them to the August 19th assimilation webinar. We're also going to pull this out and chop it up and make it into the most frequently asked questions, but help them out by answering that. Tell them to go through and watch this particular video. But I want to make sure that you guys have thanked Greg. He's taken time out from his own webinar on Mondays to come on here and help out all of you new guys that you're going to run across these questions. And they're very, very valuable, very helpful. Also, guys, Greg will stick around for another 10 or 15 minutes and answer any other questions that you got. So if you have any questions that you want to ask Greg right now, load it up, and we can be asking him right now. It I don't even think someone watched the webinar. Is it okay to use IP networks for multiple money sites?
No, I wouldn't use them at all.
Guys, you just sat through the whole webinar. There are thousands of hosts out there. Just stay away from that one. It's just simple. Don't try to find a way to make it work. So it says here, what do you think about easy? Oh my God. What do you think about Easy Blog's network hosting? I heard they use real brand name hosts to blend in, but I quickly tried reverse lookup and I found tons of fellow PBN sites.
Yeah, that's what Derek was just saying. He made a really good point when I was explaining the IP lookup. Most of the people who use those are doing PBNs. So, even if you have 100 sites listed on the same host, if 80 of them are PBNs and they figure it out, that's gone. Again, Stephen Floyd is the person I talked about this, where he has the information that identified that they take out, like they do identify bad neighborhoods and take them out. So it's been confirmed.
Okay.
Stay away from it.
Great. And let's see here. What I'm going to do right now is he doesn't like it.
I want to answer one question really quick, Cotton.
Sure.
Mayweather versus Rousey, who wins?
Wow. You know what? I just cheated with you right now because I brought on another organizer to help me.
Oh, man.
Ronda Rousey wins that fight easy, Greg.
No.
Ronda Rousey wins that fight, and I want to tell you why. Because Ronda Rousey is more man than Mayweather is. They're both about the same weight. Ronda Rousey is trained to fight to the death. Floyd Mayweather is just going to dance around. If Ronda Rousey shoots, get him on the ground, Mayweather's going to tap like a 10-year-old girl. And the whole world will see it.
She would never get a hold of him. She would never get a hold of him. Too quick.
The ring is only as big as you can run, and I'm telling you. I think
she's been lit up by women, coming in. She's not good at coming in. She would get killed by Floyd, trust me.
I don't know, man. I just don't see it. Guys, let's go to the polls on this. Let's go to the Facebook thread. I want you, if you think in a fight, Ronda Rousey, I want you to do hashtag Ronda. You think Mayweather would win? Hashtag Mayweather. This is, me and Greg are going to have to do some serious research. We already have a location in Chicago that we're going to be discussing this, and we're going to dig deep down and analyze it even further. So give us your thoughts. Stephen Floyd, who wins this fight?
Man, this is a tough one because do what Greg does is like my mantra.
That's for SEO.
Man, you know what? Tomorrow will mark the graduation of the first females from my beloved Army Ranger School. And so, I think the tide is turning. I think that people are starting to realize that women can do pretty much anything that men can do. So I'm definitely going with Ronda on this one.
Oh,
man.
Come on, Greg. Come on.
I want you to go back and watch some of Ronda's fights where she's been lit up by women who are much slower than Floyd Mayweather. Remember, he's a man. He's 10 pounds heavier. He would put a hole in her head.
I don't know.
Yeah,
man.
but I remember back to UFC 1 back in 1997 or 98, I believe, when the whole boxer versus a grappler argument came out, and it was always the same answer that the boxer would just clearly knock out the grappler, before they could get their hands on him. And wow, I think I've seen people fight 2 and 3 weight classes above them, like Hoist Gracie, if you
absolutely
remember.
Hoist Gracie was 175.
Was tapping out fools who were 200, 250, 300.
Exactly.
So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Right.
But hey,
when you know jiu-jitsu, I'm just telling you, you can take guys 40, 50 pounds heavier.
Absolutely normal guys, not one of the best boxers in the world. You would never touch him.
Mayweather is a skirt away from being a Caitlyn Jenner. That's all he is. I mean, he's such a little tiny guy. I'm afraid if I punched him, I'd break him in half. That's why. I mean, I fought MMA for 3 years, and I know that when a guy is about $140, literally I can backhand him and almost shatter his jaw. So Ronda Rousey can do it. So we're good. So we will discuss this more in Chicago, Mr. Morrison.
We will.
We have a very good location to discuss it at, and I'm quite excited to discuss it further. It says there, Greg, are you siloing your sites? Do you feel it's even necessary for local sites?
Nah, I don't ever silo a local site. I only silo if there is enough content to without pushing it to make a silo. You know what I mean? So for example, for e-cigs, some of my bigger sites I will silo because it makes sense. You do e-cigarettes and then you list all the e-cigarette brands under it. You do e-liquids, then you put all the e-liquid brands under that silo. But with local, I mean, if you have Dallas Plumbers, you can silo it, but it seems forced to me. So when I have a reason to silo, there's enough content or there's enough topics, I will, but otherwise I don't. So that's just me.
Great. It says here, let's see if there's any other just kind of glaring out questions that we can ask right now. It says here, if a page that ranked highly now ranks poorly, but the rest of the site ranks very highly, is the page or the site penalized or just tripped up with over-optimization or some other on-page SEO issues?
Yes, probably over-optimization.
Yeah. There's a lot of times, I'm going to be honest with you, there's a couple times that, there's cities that I don't care about. I pushed up to number 3. And I forgot about it for a few months, and I look, and it's dropped back down. And it looks like to me there's nothing wrong with the page, just competition. I mean, if you get in a competitive keyword, you just can't sleep on that site for 3 months and hope it's going to, stay there. Competition's coming. So could be over-optimization, could be competition, could be a lot of different things.
Hey, Cotton.
Mm-hmm.
Can I throw in one thing real quick before I jump off and not interrupt Greg's webinar? Mm-hmm. Hey, on the siloing of local sites, if it's a local site, meaning like a local client site like Dallas Plumber, I highly suggest that you do silo it, but not for the SEO benefit, for the user experience benefit, because there's kind of a logical way that people are going to look and navigate a local site. They're basically looking for how to get a hold of you. So if you have multiple locations, they're looking for that area served or location served. And depending on what you do, they're looking for your services. So, if you're a roofer, it would be like residential or commercial, just as examples. So from an SEO perspective, I absolutely agree with what Greg said, but from a user experience perspective, which does affect, I know we could have a whole webinar on that, but the user experience for sure is going to help. So from a conversion standpoint, maybe not a strict silo like Greg's talking about, but I would definitely want to have the site organized in a way that Googlebot likes it, a typical, domain/areas or domain/services, because that's what people expect, and if they can get through your site easily, then they're more likely to stay on or click or convert or whatever. So that's not exactly what Sheila asked, but I just wanted to throw that out there because I do silo 100% of my local sites, but it's not, again, not to rank.
Great. Stephen, while we are here, I want to let everyone know that we have a very special webinar tomorrow that's for those of you that are new. Last year, there was acceleration webinars that kind of was the flagship of having all the guests on and everything. I kind of made a standard rule on assimilation, and I don't even think anyone even realized it. I won't have any guests on here anymore that doesn't make $30,000 a month. It's not fair to you. I know you don't want to listen to people move their mouths that aren't making at least $1,000 a day. It's not that hard. At least for all of us, it isn't. So there will be no guest on assimilation ever again that doesn't make $30K a month. Or I know that they're well on their way. Like Joshua Earp, I knew he had just brushed it. He was on as a guest. So that's what a simulation webinar is going to be about. But last year, acceleration was the webinars that everyone would have been on. Well, we're going to revive it tomorrow night. And Mike Long is going to have special guest Stephen Floyd on tomorrow for a very special webinar. And I know that Stephen's got some pretty sweet stuff lined up for this. And if I'm understanding, guys, it's not even going to be a go-to webinar. Mike's got this on a Google Hangout. So, guys, it's something that I would definitely attend to. Let Stephen know. Show your support. This first major webinar for OMG where it's all focused around him. Stephen's brilliant. He's one of my best friends. Just a wealth of knowledge, guys. Seriously. If you're in OMG and if you have the opportunity to spend a few moments with him, there's nothing you can do but walk out with information and value. That's all Stephen does. The more I hang out with him, the smarter I get. I know Greg thinks very highly of him, so does Derek. So tomorrow, guys, I wouldn't miss that. That is going to be 7 p.m. Is that right, Stephen?
Yeah, it's excuse me. Yeah, it's 7 p.m. Eastern.
Mm-hmm. Great.
Yes, Stephen has been one of the biggest helps for us here to me. So I mean, he's a beast, man. He knows what he's doing.
Stephen, is there any little sneak previews you could give us of what might be going on tomorrow?
Yeah, honestly, I told you this. I guess it was yesterday or day before, Cotton. There's definitely some things that are going on with the new snack pack that I have confirmed now. So I'm not going to be launching a new a Warrior Forum course on it, like we joked about. Although there actually is one already. But I have multiple sources that I've gone to and done a lot of analysis, and I definitely have some actionable content for tomorrow for the webinar.
Great.
So 100% I'm going to be able to show you some guys about that. And the good thing is, one of our things that if you've been around for a while in this group, guys, Google can do whatever Google wants to do. All we do is make it an advantage for us. It literally doesn't matter whether Google adds something, moves something, removes something. It doesn't matter what they do. We react, and we turn it into an advantage for us. And that's all they've done with this snack pack. So it's going to be awesome. And for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, the 7-pack is what we used to call the maps or the local results. And last week, or actually about 10 days ago, thanks, Cotton, for bringing that up. Instead of having anywhere from 2 to 7 results, now 100% across the board, we have what we're calling affectionately the snack pack, which is these 3 that Cotton brought up on the screen. And there's some very specific things that have changed about this, including some things that are very different about mobile. But there's some things on here that we're going to talk about tomorrow. There's some definite opportunities here, some great opportunities. And some great opportunities for your existing clients and even for some new client, results. So I'm looking forward to sharing that.
Definitely. It'd
be awesome.
Always walk out with value whenever you're on, Stephen. So I will definitely be around for that one. I encourage you guys to do so. So thank you, Stephen.
Thanks for having me on, buddy.
Definitely.
Thanks, Greg.
Sure. Guys, let me ask you a question. Very, very, very serious question, and then we're going to close the webinar out, but it's vital to your success. What if I told you right now that in 3 days I could literally give you SEO that was going to carry you for the next 12 months and give you a cutting edge over 99% of all SEO agencies and all SEO? And if you missed it, you would be a year behind. Guys, I want you to give me a hashtag 2016. Give me a hashtag 2016. We have literally almost 400 people on here. I want to see it. Because what I'm going to talk to you about right now is something that is going to give you an edge that you are not going to be able to get anywhere else at all. And I feel very honored that David has brought me in to help design and map out OMG Live 2015. And guys, I'm going to give you the link right here, and I'm going to talk a little bit about it. And I've got two guys on here right now that are speakers at OMG Live Nashville. And I can tell you this, guys, we only have literally about 40 to 50 slots left. This is a very small event. We don't want it to be very big. It's about 150 people. 150 people. We don't have that many left. We have about 96, 97 of these already sold right now. And whenever it gets to be 150, we're done. It's sold out 2 years in a row. This year, it's selling out at a rapid pace. We sold dozens last week after last week's webinar. Now, I can tell you this. I promise you, and those of you that are new, you'll get to learn that we bring it on assimilation every week. You walk away with value. You walk away smarter than before you left. Always. It's never dull. And I can promise you that if you want to find out what a 3-day assimilation webinar is, that's exactly what I'm designing for you with David Mills. And I'm telling you right now, some of the things that Derek Owasiak is going to give away at this event, you're not going to have enough money to buy this. It is at a steal. At a steal. It is information that can alter websites, that can just dominate search engines. Greg Morrison. I've talked to him in Dallas. We're going to spend some more time together in Chicago. Greg, what do you got lined up for us? Is it not going to be game-changing?
Yeah, I'm going to show some pretty crazy stuff, I think. I'm pretty sure I'm going to show it. Going through some file stuff on it now. But, yeah, it's probably shouldn't show, but I think I might, so we'll see.
I've got some stuff that I know that I shouldn't show anyone that I'm going to be showing. I promise you, it will alter how you do SEO forever. That's a pretty steep promise. Derek, what do you got, man? I know that you're going to be speaking. We're giving you a couple months to flesh some stuff out. I know last time we talked, man, you had some game-changing stuff that you were going to review.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be quite a lot of cool things, like maybe some different methods what you can use your bad PBNs for, and or even spammy PBNs for, and
wow,
that kind of topics.
Stephen, you're one of the speakers there as well. I'd know that I really haven't had a chance to drill down and ask you what you're going to do, because you've got so much stuff you can go over with, but are you not going to bring the house down here?
Man, I told David Mills that when I went last year, you know, all the standing ovations, I was jonesing. I want to get a single or a double. So I've got some stuff right now that I haven't even told you about yet that I promise you no one else is talking about.
Wow.
I've never seen it on a forum. I've never seen it in a group. I've seen people talk about the general topic, but nothing like what I'm going to do there. And I've been using it for a little over 6 months. And I promise you, it's nothing you've seen before even. So, yeah, I'm excited. You know, this is one of those deals, guys. I don't even know what to tell you if you're considering this. You need to just go buy it and get on it, because, you know, you're going to be there. If you just went for one day, if you went for an hour, you're going to get your money's worth out of this, okay? But you're talking 3 days, and guys, if you've never been to one before, you know, when you're in the middle, like when you're in sessions and stuff, not live, you know, you can come and talk to the people, the coaches. You can come ask them questions and stuff. So I can't imagine not being there. And I go to probably a dozen ish events every year that are like this, and there's nothing like OMG Live. There's nothing that even comes close to OMG Live.
Well, I'm just going to, Stephen, I appreciate you saying that, but last year was kind of weak, and I even said that myself.
Well, you know, and that's what's funny, because you're saying it was weak, and I'm still telling you that even so what you're calling weak, I'm telling you, was better than anything else I did all of last year, this year. And I'm talking, I went to some deals that were one was $5,000, one was $7,000. for the same amount of time, and I got more value out of the 3 days at OMG. No question, hands down. And also too, some of these other places, man, they have good theories, but I don't know these people, and frankly I question. I'm like, I don't know, is this something you made up? And the coaches we have here, everybody has been vetted, so we know that the people that are coaching here are actually doing what they're teaching.
Sure.
So, man, I can't wait. I can't wait. I'm excited. I wish it was tomorrow. I can't wait to start sharing.
Guys, and we're not even talking about Jimmy Kelly. Jimmy is angry. He's on fire, and I'm going to tell you, he's going to bring it also. He's going to be throwing it down hard. I haven't talked about Joe Marfolio. I haven't talked about Fletch. I haven't talked about Alex Becker. I haven't talked about any of these people that are all going to be there. But I can tell you this, you just talked to 4 of us right now. And there's one of the things that I don't like to do. I don't like to run my mouth and not deliver. If you've been altered by an assimilation, you've seen what happened last week at one of our webinars. Well, guess what? That's going to be pale in comparison to what OMG Live is going to be. You got David Mills. He's also going to be speaking. So, guys, what I'm here to tell you is when Greg Morrison says he's got some stuff he's not sure if he wants to give, it's lethal. When Derek Owasiak tells you he's going to show you stuff that he's really not talked about before, you need to listen. When Jimmy Kelly's going to bring it, when I tell you that I'm going to change the way you do SEO forever, you better listen. And I'm telling you, now's the time to jump on because you can get on the payment plan. You wait too long, you're not going to be able to participate in the payment plan. For those of you that are brand new, don't worry. I understand that you've already made a huge investment, but I'm telling you, you have all of the information. What I want to tell you guys is you have every bit of information to be successful inside of OMG with what you've got right now. Everything about it. It works. It's proven success. It's how I've made my money. It's how all of us have made our money. It's how we've got hundreds and thousands of income reports of people blowing it up. But what I can tell you is this. I'm going to make this event one that you will regret for the rest of your life if you don't make it. That's my promise to you. And I know that sounds a bit harsh, but hey, that's just life. I don't like to do anything and not be the best at it. You ought to know that from me by now if you've got to know me. If I'm not the best, I quit. Or I find a way to get the best, or I'll outwork you, I'll do something. I'm going to make this event one that people will talk about for a long time. So, and we've got the talent to do it. So guys, if you're not here, you've already got on here. For those of you guys, just tell me this right now. Go to the Facebook group. If you've already got your ticket or if you're thinking about, give me a hashtag OMG Live. I just want to see. Hashtag OMG Live. I want to see all the people that want to go, that's planning on going. Who's going to come to OMG Live? Give me hashtag OMG Live. We got 3 people that are going. 4, 5. Come on, guys. There's got to be more people than this that literally want to stay on the cutting edge. Because I'm telling you, some of the things we're going to go on about, you are literally going to be able to float and carry yourself for at least 12 to 15 months after this event. And I promise you we're not going to talk about these on assimilation webinars later or on other webinars. So Carol Harkins says that she's already got her hotel and ticket. And it says, Ken Taylor says it 5 minutes ago. Wayne says he bought last week. Stephen Floyd's already there. So look at that. Steven says he's going. So Tracy said she's going to go. I got a chance to meet her at Assimilation Orlando. Says he's got his passport and he stressed the credit card and he's excited. You got Suzanne McDowell. She's going to go. Look, Chris has already got his room at the Drury Inn. He's well ahead of me. So guys, if you haven't done it, and Deborah Bradley, she's going. And I know that she's got Shannon going with her. They're going to team up with a room. Guys, also that's another way. If you want to share on expenses, share a room with another OMG or get a hold of them and go. But I can tell you this, there's a lot of fun. And Greg, don't we always have a blast at these things?
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, it's a good time. A lot of networking, just a lot of people who've met there who are partners now. You know, they've really advanced their online careers. I mean, it's a really good time.
What I can tell you is that you don't understand how many things that came out of OMG Live. I know that Clinton Dixon and Mike Hayden made a full web design course because they met there, became good friends. Guys, you won't believe the friends, the networking and support you're going to get when you get 150 people that desperately want to make money. I know that I got a chance to bond with Greg. Greg, I think that's the first time I met you was at OMG Live last year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
First time I met Greg. First time I had a chance, guys. We have dinners together. We go out together afterwards. It's literally an event that I would not pass up. So the reason that I'm hitting on it so hard right now is because it is still August. You can still get in on the payment plan. It's the easiest way to take care of this. Guys, Becker will also open up OMG Live as he's always done. That's where Gregory Ortiz met Becker. And guess what happened at OMG Live? I introduced two people together for the first time. I introduced Alex Becker with Gregory Ortiz, and Gregory Ortiz then was in Source University with Becker. They have several business deals together. They have several things that they work with together. That's what happens at OMG Live. You get a chance to network, cut deals, find out things. And guys, we always get income reports we've never had. I'm always astonished by the amount of talent, the amazing people that are there. I had a blast last year, and I'm going to be honest with you. I can't wait till I go this year, and especially how we've got everything designed. And guys, we're going to be doing it very differently this year. I'm going to talk to David about it, but I really don't like this. Let's sit for 3 hours. We're going to drop a bomb, take a 15-minute break, let you talk about it, come back, let you ask questions, let you catch your breath, drop another bomb. Take another break. Take your notes down. We want you to absorb everything. We're going to make this event one that I guarantee you that you're never going to forget. So with that, we're going to make this a quick one tonight, guys. We'll let everyone say their parting words. And guys, don't forget about the webinar tomorrow night. You got Joe Marfolio with his hot seat tomorrow at 5, followed by Acceleration webinar with Stephen Floyd tomorrow night. Derek, any last words, my friend?
No, I'm good. Have a good night, everyone.
Great. Greg, any last words?
I'm good. Hope to see people in Nashville.
Absolutely. And guys, Greg will be in Chicago this weekend. If you can find your way to make it to Chicago, and trust me, if you get Greg cornered up and he's got a beer in his hand, Greg can get loose with lips. So never know. Steven, any last words?
Yeah, my last word is 3 letters. NDA.
Oh, yeah.
NDA. That's how I sum up OMG Live.
Absolutely. Great. Well, guys, I'm not sure what we'll be doing next week for Assimilation. We'll get it all together, but it'll be revealed sometime over the weekend. But we're going to continue to hit it home from now to the end of the year. And have a great night, and we'll see you next week. Thanks, guys.